everyone. My name is Darren Washchak, and I want to welcome you to this Dream Team Builder Masterclass. We've got a lot of content today to cover, and so I want to dive right in. I want to start off by taking you back to the winter of 2015, specifically between Thanksgiving and Christmas. At that point in time, I had just rejected an offer to purchase my company, DR Washchak LLC. And I had spent the previous year, all of 2015, talking to probably about a half dozen buyers. And it all came down to that last buyer opportunity at the end of the year. And I'll tell you that I received that offer, but then I rejected that offer. One, because it just wasn't a good offer, and I had to really do some soul searching. But let me back up for a second and talk to you a little bit about what DR Washchak was, my company. I worked with the EPA's Energy Star for Homes program on the certifying and testing and inspecting homes for home builders. So I had done that work ever since I started my company in 1999 and was actually very successful and had survived the Great Recession that was, of course, tied to the home building industry. So I went all the way down to 5 employees from a high of 28. So that was a rough period of time, but I survived that. And then, of course, we had other ups and downs that we were dealing with, as all small business owners go through. But I'll tell you what, when we got to the end of 2014, I wasn't feeling real good. I was tired, I was burned out, frustrated, and I actually felt trapped. At one point during the 2015 timeframe when I was trying to sell the company, there was one particular buyer that happened to be a good friend of mine, and I just remember having this conversation I'll never forget, where I said, "Look, I just want to get out. I just want to get out of this company." And I felt like because I was trapped, I couldn't get out, and I said to him, "Look, I'll even give the company away." Now, of course, that thought didn't last very long, but that's really how desperate I felt. At the end of 2014, I really just wanted more freedom, but my business was basically sucking the life out of me and causing a lot of stress and strain for me. And again, that's not unfamiliar for small business owners, but I was really just done with it. So I just wanted out. I wanted more freedom. Now, what was the problem? Why is it that I couldn't sell the company in 2015 and ultimately rejected the offer that I did receive at the end of the year? The problem was that I was the company. And because I was the company, the buyers were basically making offers that were lowball because the value of the company was tied directly to me. And they were also saying that I had to stick around for a long time because, again, if I walked away, then the company basically didn't exist anymore. And so I had worked myself to that place where I was the company. And I know there's plenty of small business owners out there that actually that is your reality as well. And because I was the company, it really just wasn't saleable. It certainly wasn't saleable for a price that I thought was reasonable and that would allow me to have what I really wanted, which was greater freedom to just be done, move on, and go do something else. So I had to come up with a different answer. And that answer for me was I was all back in. I had learned a lot about how to run a business better, but I had decided or had really just not implemented a lot of those things for years and years. So the first 14 years of my business, I did a lot of things right, but I also neglected to do a number of things that would lead to a company that was more saleable and, importantly, a company that would give me more freedom. So I was determined to do things differently, okay? I was determined to change what I did. So today what I want to share with you in our masterclass are the things that I did, the exact things that I did in order to, after the beginning of 2015, or actually the beginning of 2016, the next 2 years I spent rebuilding the company, putting in place a lot of tried and true business best practices that are not rocket science, not all that new, but how I put them together was new. And some of them truly were inventive and unique, which I'm going to share with you today, so that you'll understand that 24 months after I had started my rebuild, I actually had 3 of my employees that approached me and said, "Darren, you keep talking about wanting us to buy you out," which I was doing. "So you know what? We want to buy you out. We don't need you anymore." And 3 months later, at the end of March of 2018, we closed the deal. Three new business owners were born, entrepreneurs, and I finally was free on my terms that gave me a reasonable payout and ultimately my freedom. So that's really what I want to talk to you today about, is what did I do to make that happen? So let's start by talking about freedom. That's an important thing for us to first focus on, because that, I believe, is what every entrepreneur wants. It's what every person wants, quite frankly. But small business owners, entrepreneurs, this is why you usually start your business, so that you can have greater freedom. So I want to talk about freedom. Now, first, let's be clear. To truly be free as a small business owner, you've got to have help. You can't do it by yourself. You've got to have support. So if you don't have the right amount of support and help right now in your small business, then you're never going to have greater freedom. It's just not going to be possible. You also must minimize the work that you dislike. You've got to do the work that you love doing, the work that brings you happiness, joy, the work that gives the most back to the company, but that you love to do. So again, it's not working in the company anymore. It's what you do and how you choose to do it. And then the other important thing is that you've got to be able to take time away from your business. I mean, truly time away from your business, where you're unplugged, you're not taking phone calls, emails, you are basically gone, absent for chunks of time, or in fact, as much time as you want to if you truly are free. So that, to me, these are the essential elements if you truly want to be free as a small business owner. So let's talk for a second about personal freedom. And I get at personal freedom with a question that I've asked lots of small business owners and non-business owners this question many, many times. And the question goes like this: if you could be anywhere right now doing whatever you wanted to do, where would you be and what would you be doing? And so this question gets at the heart of, if you weren't here in this, listening to me in this master class, where would you be and what would you be doing? If you could do anything right now, what would that be? And so I call this your freedom activity, the thing that you truly would love to do. So let me give you a couple of suggestions, food for thought, as you think about what your answer would be for this, okay? Perhaps it's going to be on a beach. This is probably the most popular answer I get back. People love to go to the ocean, go to the beach, because again, I think there's a sense of freedom beyond that beach, out there in the wide open area. I just think there's a lot that goes along with that. So that's why it's one of the most popular ones. But then again, maybe what you'd prefer to be doing is you'd rather be hiking in the mountains, maybe fishing, maybe hunting, doing something in the outdoors in nature. A lot of people, and this is one of my favorite, if they could be doing anything right now, they would say, I'd be traveling. I'd be somewhere discovering a new place, immersing myself in a new culture. I'd be somewhere other than where I am right now. That's what I would love to do. And again, I love to travel with my family. This is what I love to do. So this is one of the top items for me. And then, of course, there are plenty of people that tell me, you know what, I don't have any exotic or fancy plans. For me, just spending time with my family or maybe a group of really good friends right here at home. That's what I would be doing. That, to me, is my freedom activity. And so I want to now pause for a second and take stock of this freedom activity. And I ask this question for you to contemplate. Looking back over the last 12 months, quantify how much time you were able to spend doing your freedom activity. Okay? Haven't been able to do it at all. Once or twice in the last 12 months. Once a month, couple times, once a week, couple times a week, whenever I want to. You know, I want you to think about what your answer would be for that, because the answer to this also is a description of an indication of how much freedom you have. I want to share with you what asking many, many small business owners has resulted in feedback. And this is what I've received in those answers. Basically, you can see that a whole 21%, not a small number, almost a quarter, say that they haven't been able to do it at all. Now, this is the activity that if they could do anything they wanted to, this is what they would choose to do. Not working in their business, okay? And so 21% said that they really haven't been able to. And a whopping 43%, or a total of 2/3, basically are not being able to do their freedom activity very much. And so from a personal freedom perspective, that really is a clue as to how much personal freedom you have. Now, I want to switch this over to professional freedom. Now, how would you define freedom in your business or your daily work? And I believe that it revolves around choices, okay? Freedom to choose. Choose the products and services you sell. Sometimes you don't get to choose what those are. You do what makes money, for example, or you do what keeps the doors open, or you do what other people suggest that you do, but you may not be in love with that. But being able to choose what you do is important. How much product or service you sell, okay? You may choose to do a very little amount of work. That might be your preference, but you might need to do a lot of work, a lot of product and a lot of service just to keep the doors open, cover your overhead. So freedom is really being able to choose how much of that work that you do, because again, you're the boss, you're the owner of the company. How much money you make. This actually sounds maybe a little counterintuitive. Some people don't have control over how much they make. They're limited. But a lot of individuals, small businesses, they can grow as much as they want to, but they're just unable to. But maybe you want to be on the other side. You could be making $5 million, but you'd really prefer to stay at 1. But you've got to be making more like 2, again, to cover your overhead and to make sure that the doors stay open. So again, full freedom is to decide how much money you're going to make. Importantly, who you work with, okay? This includes both your employees and your clients. Choosing who you get to work with. There's plenty of people out in the world that we don't get along with, but sometimes we have to tolerate them because we need their skill set, we need their expertise, or we need their pay for our services or to purchase our products. But if you had total freedom, you could choose who you brought into the company to support you as part of your team, and also those clients and customers that you sell your products and services to. Professional freedom is also the being able to choose how you spend your time working. In other words, what you work on. Back to that point I made earlier, only doing the work that you love and not doing any of that work that you dislike. Delegate that to somebody else. True freedom is only doing the work that you really love. And then when to work. Some people love to work just a straight 9 to 5 job, 5 days a week. They're good with that. But freedom might be, or freedom is rather, being able to say, you know what, I want to work Saturday through Wednesday and I want to take a couple of days of the week off so I can spend time with my kids after school or whatever. Maybe you want to work early in the morning until noon and be done, or maybe it's at the end of the day. But you get to choose when it is that you do your work. That is true freedom in your professional freedom arena. And then how much time you spend working in the business versus taking time off. Again, that's a definition of professional freedom. Choosing these things, what you really want, what is in your heart. Now, there's 4 levels of freedom that I've identified over time working with small business owners and, of course, also in my own experience. And it's a hierarchy, if you will. So business owners, when you're brand new, typically start at the struggle level. That's the very bottom. You don't have a lot of freedom because you're wearing all the hats that are to be worn. You're not only providing the service of the product, you're also doing the bookkeeping, the marketing, the sales, the human resources if you've got people. And so really you're working all the time, weekends, long hours. In fact, what you've done is prior to that, you were most likely an employee. And so now you actually own your job instead of doing that job for somebody else. But you're not really a business owner at that lowest level. You really just own a job, okay? So that struggle, that's where a lot of businesses start out. Most new businesses do. Unfortunately, there's a lot of businesses that actually never get out of struggle. The next level up in the terms of hierarchy of freedom is competent. So you've been at it for a little while. You've figured out your cash flow so it's not feast or famine anymore. You've probably saved a little bit of money. You've hired some people. If you haven't already, you've hired some people that help you out. You're not working 7 days a week. Maybe it's 6 days a week, maybe not as many hours, but you're still very much involved in the business, doing the work of the business. Building product or delivering services, you are very much involved. And so at this level, you still own a job. You're not a business owner at this level, but things are a little bit better. You've at least got some help and you've got a little bit more freedom at the competent level. Now, the next level up is experienced. And really, there's a tipping point that happens between competent and experience, and that is really when you move from owning a job to actually being a business owner. At this level, you've got professional help, professional people helping you, meaning people with good skill sets. You can afford that. You've grown the business to a place where you've got good cash flow. It's predictable. You might even have some money in the bank for a rainy day fund, and you are working much more on the business than in the business. Now, the company, when you're you're at the experience level is running really well. You've got some time off. You can take off some time, a couple weeks here and there, but not whenever you want to. And at the experience level, even though you've got a taste for freedom and you can see it and you can imagine it being more, you can't quite get to that level of freedom, that next level, the highest level of freedom, which I call freedom to exit. Now, with the freedom to exit level of freedom, you are spending all of your time working on the business, improving it, making it better, expanding it, and less time, in fact, no time or practically no time working in the business. You're not delivering services anymore. You're not creating product or making product anymore. You're just doing the work that you love. You've got a professional leadership team that helps you to run the company so that you don't feel alone anymore. You've got others that are helping you to run the company, sharing in the responsibility of the success of the company. It doesn't all rest on your shoulders. In freedom to exit, you actually have time to take off as much as you want. That's really an exceptional place to be. That is true freedom. If you want to be gone for 6 months or even a year, you have the ability to do that because you've got people in place that run the company for you. You're just doing the work that you love, just the work that allows you to feel energized when you're involved in your company. Now, at the freedom to exit level, you have the freedom to exit. That means that you're not in the scenario that I was back at the end of 2015, where I was the company. When you're at the freedom to exit level, you can choose to sell and at any time, and you're going to have buyers that are going to be very interested in buying from you. On the other hand, somebody might approach you and say, I want to buy the company. And you can say, nope, not interested. I'm happy with the cash flow and the lifestyle I have. I'm going to stay right here. Or you could take advantage of that and you can stay in the company or you can leave. But that's all your choice. You have the freedom to exit. You don't have to exit because, again, at that level, you've got maximum freedom within your business. So I want to ask a question. What level of freedom is your business operating at? Are you at the freedom to exit level? Or are you at the experience, competent, or the struggle level? Be honest with yourself where you are. I got myself very close to that freedom to exit level. In fact, I was at the freedom to exit level right there on the cusp when my employees came to buy the company from me because they basically said, we don't need you anymore, Darren, which is what the definition of freedom to exit is. They don't need you anymore because the leadership team, your employees, they can run the company just fine without you. And so again, where are you and where are you right now? And if you're not the business owner watching this, where is the business owner at that you work for? So let me share with you what the small business owners that I've polled and asked this question of many, what have they said? 21% of them are at struggle, okay? Now, I guarantee you not all of them just started their company. They might be, in fact, I know for a fact that many of them were 5, 6, 7 years into owning their business, but never left the struggle. And then lots and lots, the most popular group are competent, okay? But that's where it kind of tears off. You notice a pattern here? 2/3 of the people are basically not able to take time away from their business. And you've got 2/3 of them that are basically at best struggle, which means you're still just own a job, not a business. But I have a healthy number that are experienced and then a very rarefied air group there, 2% that are really at freedom to exit. Now, last question I want to ask when we're talking about freedom. How long could your business survive without you, the owner present, if you're not the owner? So think about this question. The weekend, okay? I hope that your business will survive without you for at least the weekend, but there are some people who'll say that's about all they can get. Less than a week, 1 to 2 weeks, 1 month, 6 months, maybe a year or more. How long could your business survive without you? My business, before I went through my rebuild, really couldn't survive without me except maybe 1 to 2 weeks is about all I could get. So 1 to 2 weeks was the best I could do. Where are you? Be honest, because this is a true indication of the level of freedom that you have as a small business owner. This is the answers that I've received back from small business owners. 12% said the weekend, okay? I guess it could be worse. But a big chunk, 22%, less than a week. Only a couple of days off is all they could take, in addition to maybe the weekend. And then 1 to 2 weeks, that's pretty good, actually. A lot of people that are at the experience level, maybe they can get 1 to 2 weeks. But we really want you to be at that month, 6 months to a year. That is true freedom and being able to step away from your business. All right, so how do you get to that highest level of freedom, freedom to exit, where your personal and your professional freedom are maximized? You must become what I call freedom focused. You must become freedom focused. But how do you do that? Big question. How do you do that? And so I want to talk you through that. There's two really big concepts. There's a foundation that you must have in place or you're never going to get there. And that's what I call Dream Team Builder. And then once you've built your dream team, then you've got to do execution. And that's what I call Freedom Builder. So there's two chunks, and I want to walk you through that today as we spend our time together. Let's start off with Foundation and Dream Team Builder. I love this quote from Patrick Lencioni of the 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. If you could get all the people in your organization rowing in the same direction, you could dominate any industry in any market against any competition at any time. That's a powerful statement. But this is the result of Dream Team Builder. This is what we're trying to do, get everybody rowing in the same direction. And you've got to do that very purposefully. And Dream Team Builder is what makes that possible. So Dream Team Builder consists of 5 basic things that I did when I was rebuilding my company that worked really, really well for me. Core values, vision, data, hiring process, and a review process. This is all about your team. So let's start off with core values. There's a couple of things that are base, that are really foundational. Core values are extremely important. I'm going to show you how they work in all of what it takes for Dream Team Builder. There's three key elements of core values. The first one are the core values themselves, 5 to 7 words that embody what your core values are, what you believe in, what you stand for, what you represent in the larger world, okay? That's what your core values are. And this is an example of the core values I had at my company, DR Washcheck: honesty and integrity, trust and reliability, expertise, professionalism, and leadership. Now, these are just words, and a lot of people can define what their core values are in terms of words. But the problem is that there's a lack of I don't know what to do with these words. So great, you've told me as my employer, as part of your team, you've told me what they are and they sound wonderful, but I don't know what to do with that. And I'm not even sure that I know exactly what you mean by that. So that's where element 2 comes in. It's an action statement. A short sentence that tells people what to do with that value, how to act on it. So we had identified action statements as follows. So honesty, integrity, always do the right thing, okay? Trust and reliability, do what you say you're going to do. Well, I can do that. Do what you say you're always going to do. Now, expertise is a little bit trickier. The other ones might be a little more obvious, but to us, expertise meant expand your knowledge, always growing, always getting better. So the action statement's critical because then people know how to act on that core value when they're part of your team. The third element is also extremely important, and it's the narrative. 1 or 2 paragraphs that describe what that core value means to the organization, including examples that represent the core value when it's being acted on. Now, at DR Washcheck, when we go to expertise, for example, we had created a narrative. So it was very clear to everybody in the organization, what did we mean by that core value? How do you go beyond just acting on it? Or when you're acting on it, what is it that you're trying to fulfill? So I'm just going to read a little of this for you so you get the idea. Expertise is DR Washcheck's greatest asset. You might even call it our stock and trade. It's why builders want to work with us. It's what people will pay a premium for. And in short, it is the foundation of the trust, credibility, and reliability of our company, so on and so forth. We wanted people to be motivated by this. We wanted people to understand that this core value was the essence of who we are and what we were about. So I think a lot of people understand that core values are important, but you've got to put them into, again, the action statement, the narrative, and the core value itself in order for it to come to life. Now, we use these core values, and you'll see that shortly. Your core values are a reflection of your internal compass that helps you to navigate through life. If you compromise them, you will be lost. If you honor them, they will always help you to find your way. That is the power of core values. Let's talk about vision, another really foundational element that is essential for your business. If you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. Okay, this is a phrase that a lot of people have heard over time, but how true it is. You've got to know what your destination is, that vision for what the future is. If you don't know where you're going, again, there's all kinds of ways to get there, but we want to be very precise and very deliberate in what we're trying to accomplish, and we can't do that unless we know where we're going, okay? And in fact, let me say this about vision. The vision is critically important because at the end of the day, that is what your employees need to put into context the work they do each day. They're going to come and they're going to do what they do, and they're going to make sure that they do their job. But you've got to know how that job fits in with the bigger picture. How the task I do today helps us to get to that larger vision. So, how do you create a vision for your business? It starts with a vision statement, okay? A vision statement captures in one sentence the essence of what you're trying to achieve as an organization. It's aspirational, what you aspire to do in the future. So let me give you some examples and see if you guys can figure out where these came from, okay? These are from very large organizations, but great ones. Now, this first one's a giveaway. A computer on every desk in every home running Microsoft software. This is the vision statement for Microsoft. Now, is Microsoft ever going to be in every computer on every desktop? No, never. That's never going to happen because companies like Apple are out there, right? And they're going to have a share of the marketplace. But this is their aspiration. They wake up every day as an organization trying to fulfill this vision for the future. We want every computer to have Microsoft software in it. So what are we going to do to make that happen? So everybody in Microsoft, that is what they're striving for. Again, you may never get there, but that is that big, hairy, audacious goal that's out in front of you that you're striving for. To become the world's most loved, most flown, and most profitable airline. Perhaps another giveaway, Southwest Airlines. This is what, again, everybody's rallying around. They do a great job of this for those of you that like Southwest and fly on them, and a lot of people do. They really do a great job of accomplishing this. But everything they do is in service of getting and fulfilling this vision out into the future. To be the Earth's most customer-centric company where customers can find and discover anything they want to buy online. Another perhaps giveaway, Amazon, okay? And they've really done an excellent job of accomplishing this, and they're kind of constantly looking for ways to do more. Buy anything that you want. The only thing I think you can't buy is maybe a house, okay? But there's a lot that you can do, and everything that goes into a house, certainly. So Amazon has a strong, powerful, aspirational vision statement, okay? They may never, in fact, probably will never accomplish this, but they reach for it. They strive for it. And the last one, to create the most compelling car company of the 21st century by driving the world's transition to electric vehicles. Tesla. Now, if Tesla folded today, they could feel satisfied that they had actually accomplished this vision. They still are at it today, doing wonderful things and growing and being successful as a business, but they've really done so much to accomplish this. They're not talking about how can we earn more profits, how can we be the most profitable company. That's not their vision. Their vision is to be transformational. It's aspirational. That is a vision statement. Now, there's one more thing that you need to include for your vision in order for it to take life, and that is to have what's called a future state vision. A future state vision is 1 or 2 pages that describe what the organization will look like, act like, feel like, and perform like at some period in the future. A future state vision basically describes the company as if it already existed at this place in the future. Right now, you might be in one city and you might have revenues of $1 million and you might have 5 employees. But in a vision statement, you're going to essentially say, we are going to be in 5 markets, we're going to have $10 million in revenues, and we're going to have 50 employees. That is something that you write in a vision statement. It's as if it has already happened. It's aspirational, but now everybody can say that's where we're headed. That's where we're going into the future. It's much clearer for me to understand, and we're all going to work towards that vision. So vision is essential. Everybody must know what that is. Get it out of your head as a business owner, get it down on paper, and make sure that you share that with everybody so they're crystal clear on what your vision is. If you want to build a ship, don't drum up people to collect wood and don't assign them tasks to work on, but rather teach them to long for the endless immensity of the sea. Pick your head up and then create that future for everybody to strive for. Core values and vision are essential to what we're going to be doing for building our dream team. But first, I want to talk about data. So much of what we do is guesswork when it comes to finding people or even the people in our organization. Stop guessing. Rely instead on data. Now, there's two things that I took right away when I was rebuilding at the beginning of 2016. I started using two data collection instruments, okay, or two quizzes, I call them. One is 16 personalities. Now, this basically is Myers-Briggs. A lot of people are familiar with that personality test, but this is Myers-Briggs updated. There's a lot of things that have happened since the 1930s when Myers-Briggs was created. We've had a lot of social science that has developed a lot of improved theories on how people operate, how they think, how they do things. And 16 personalities takes advantage of the latest in social science. So there's a lot more than just the four letters that go into your standard Myers-Briggs, and 16 personalities allows you to understand when you've got somebody that you want to bring into your team, you know about them before they come in, okay? And you can actually take somebody that you know their personality results from if you have them take this quiz or when you have them take this quiz. And you can say, you know what? I've got somebody just like that in my company. And so I've got a pretty good idea of your personality and how you're going to work because Jane is just like that. She has the same personality characteristics as you, John, who wants to come and work for my company. So it's important. The other test or quiz that I use, and by the way, both of these are free, but the other quiz that I use is called Predictable Success. And it puts people into basically defining what's their leadership style. How do they act? How do they handle things in a leadership role? There's visionaries, operators, processors, and synergists, okay? Now, visionaries are basically almost always the owner of the company, the one that is the big idea person, thinking of things at a 30,000 foot level. They also get really distracted easily. They'll go away to a conference and come back and all of a sudden they're like, you know what, we're going to change what we're doing. We're going to do this. And sometimes that can be problematic. You've already decided as an organization that you're going to be building houses. But what they say is they come back and they say, well, now we're going to start building cars. Well, they don't work and they're not in line with where we want to go. But visionaries can get distracted like that. But they're really the thinkers, okay? They're the ones that drive that vision. They have that vision. You, as a business owner, probably are a visionary. Now, you're also something else. You're never going to be one of these things. So you might be a visionary, but your secondary is operator. Operators are get-her-done people, okay? They're like, just tell me what you need to do, get out of my way, and let me execute. That's what an operator does. Processors are, measure twice, cut once people. Dot I's, cross T's, make sure that's done. They're typically your accountants, your bookkeepers. That's the processors, okay? But they're really going to be process oriented. You need them. They're an important piece of your business, an important personality, leadership style. Operators and processors, by the way, hate each other, okay? They really don't get along well. Now, that's not exactly true, but they really are great against each other because they approach life differently. And then there's the synergist, because the visionary operator processor don't work really well together. By themselves, there's a lot of friction. The synergist is somebody that is a kumbaya, making sure that everybody works together, facilitates a good communication and cooperation and coordination. That's what a synergist does. And so you got to have all four of these in order for your organization to operate in a stable, successful, growth-oriented manner. And so we want to know certain positions, we want to know whether or not you are going to be a processor, because we need you as a processor. If you're a CPA, you come in as an accountant and you're not a processor, I'm going to be scratching my head. So this helps so that when people come in the door, you can be looking for a certain kind of people and you can make sure that's who you're adding to your team or that you already have on your team. Now, the predictable success and the 16 personalities data are used in your hiring process. So let's move next to that process of hiring. Vision and core values are essential as part of your hiring process. I used to hate the hiring process, okay? I don't know anybody that actually enjoys it, quite frankly. Even HR people, I think, to some extent, are not fans of that hiring process because it's difficult. You put an ad out, especially for a small business owner that's not an HR person. You put an ad out, you hope that you get people to come in and send you applications. You sort them through, and then you make some phone calls, set up some interviews, and then you hope you get the right person, okay? We need to transcend that. I was determined at the end of 2015 going into 2016 when I was going to rebuild, I was determined to do this hiring process differently, okay? And so the first thing that you've got to start with is an excellent job ad. Now, a job ad to be excellent has to have some important characteristics, okay? First of all, you got to realize that this is that first opportunity to make a first impression. Most employees will never have heard of you, especially if you're a really small company. And so they don't know about you. And the first impression they're going to get is your job ad. So make your job ad interesting, differentiated, however you define that. A picture, maybe a line, not just a job, make a difference in the world, which is truly what I said in my ads. These caught the attention so that I would get people to show up. But then also I include elements of my vision in there. What do we aspire to be? Who are we as a company? Get them excited in that first paragraph. You're selling your company. And so vision is something that you want people to grab onto and to be excited about. And then you also need to include your core values, you might have noticed. Right up there, right on the job ad, one of the first things people that are potentially going to work for you see is what do you stand for, what do you represent, what do you believe in. Now, I also include the action statement, not just the core value. I also include the action statement in the ads as well. Now, core values act as a filter, okay? They're going to attract people that see those core values and say, I'm on board for that. That's great. I agree with that. Those people are going to want to be a part of your team. But some people are going to look at your core values and go, no. I'm not comfortable with what you're trying to do there, what you're about, what you believe in. I don't believe in that. Well, they're not going to apply. Perfect. You didn't want them anyway. So it's going to act as a filter. A good job ad will filter out the people that you don't want to waste time on. Okay, you don't want them to send you a resume and waste your time. So again, you want to make sure they're aligned with your organization, and core values is one of those things that you do right there at the front end. Now, the data that I talked about is also a part of the hiring process. Every applicant, if we say we want to give you a chance, we want to maybe interview you, you send an email and you say, take these 2 quizzes. And you need those results back so you know who they are, personality, you know their fit when it comes to predictable success. You know about this person coming in. But there's another thing. You also want to make sure they follow directions. So you've also got your apply, submit the following, a resume, a cover letter. That's one way of following directions. But in order to take these quizzes and send you the results, there's a little bit of direction that you provide, clear directions, and then also they've got to follow it. If somebody nails this, take the quiz and get you the results, that's impressive. It's not impossible, it's not that tricky, but there's amazing how many people just don't follow directions. So you have those 2 quiz results at your disposal. If they take the quiz and you've invited them to take the quiz, then you give them an interview. If they don't do the quiz, you do not give an interview. You've got to be stringent about this. They only get an interview if they give you information so you know who they are and you know how they fit. I don't care how good their skill set is. If they won't take 15 minutes to do your 2 quizzes, then do you really want them on your team? I'm telling you, every time you skip this and ignore this, you are going to set yourself up for a problem. I guarantee you, okay? So one of the things that I teach in the hiring process is that process right there. Okay, let's continue on, or I want to share with you a little bit of global, this is the 2016 Global Talent Trends. This data is a little older, but it's still extremely relevant because it came out right when I was doing my rebuild, okay? The biggest roadblock candidates face when changing jobs is not knowing what it's really like to work for a company and not understanding what to expect from their role, okay? So you've got to do those things in your interview process, but importantly, 66% of candidates say they want to know what the culture and the values are, and 50% say they want to know what the mission and the vision is. Right there. Data validating that the things that we need to do, and this came out before I created my process, or this came out after I had created my process, okay? So it was great to have that validation, but this stuff is critically important, and the employees that you're potentially hiring care about this. All right, so for the interview process, you've gone through the data, you've got all the data. When you do your first interview, By the way, you're always going to do 2 interviews. When you do the first interview, you're going to confirm alignment. You're going to ask a question that gets at a core value. You don't ask, you have honesty, integrity. What you do is you say, have you ever been in a scenario, have you ever been in a situation where maybe a supervisor asked you to do something that you didn't care for? Oh, most people will say, yeah, definitely, I've had one of those. What'd you do? And then you be quiet. And if they tell you, well, they signed my time slip so that I get paid, so I just went with it. It wasn't that big of a deal, or some answer like that. That's not going to be probably who you want. Somebody else might answer differently and say, you know what, I wasn't comfortable that was good for me or the organization or even the person that was asking me to do it. So I didn't want to throw them under the bus, but I did go to the owner and I talked to them about that because I just didn't feel comfortable. That represents somebody that has honesty and integrity. They align with that core value. You're also going to, in your second interview, confirm that the applicant who they say they are, okay? So you're going to be asking questions about the 16 personalities. Did this represent you? Do you think it was accurate? I've had people say no. But then as we're going through and asking questions, we're finding out that they're exactly that personality. Why they decided to ignore it or deny it, I don't understand, but keep that in mind. And then also confirm that they're a best fit for your team. So the hiring process allows you to get to that, okay? It allows you to get at, with the interview process that we follow and that we teach, allows you to get really, really high quality people that are aligned with your core values, your vision, and more likely to stick around and be a part of your team for the long haul. Also, let's talk about the review process. So with the review process, I discovered happily that this is probably one of those most underutilized aspects of the employment process. And there's an opportunity with the review that if you keep it very simple, you can strengthen buy-in and alignment with who you are as a company. And you can also, importantly, subtly weed out those that are already on your team, because I did that. There were certain people that really weren't in line with where I wanted to go or in my core values, and I either let them go or the review process basically helped me in that process, because we don't put core values on the shelf. We use them in the hiring process and in the review process. I'll share you another place we use them in just a moment. So in the review process, we keep it very simple. The employee fills it out. It's a self-assessment. And one of the things they do is fill out, hey, how are you doing on core values? If you don't align with the core value and you give yourself a down mark, which most people will be pretty honest, they're going to get uncomfortable. They're going to start realizing, you know what, I don't really align with these core values. One employee I really specifically remember that was on board for my rebuild in 2016, we did his first review, and I made him do this because this is part of the review process. And you know what? He was uncomfortable, and I knew he was going to be. But at the end of the day, what ended up happening was he came to me about a month after his review and said, you know, Darren, I found another job. I'm going to be heading out, and I'm sorry to be leaving. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry that you're going to be leaving too, when in reality, I knew he probably was a short timer anyway. So again, review process allows you to strengthen your tie with your employees and members of your team, but it also will help you to make sure that only the strongest ones that are in alignment are a part of your team. That's Dream Team Builder. That's your foundation, okay? But now we need to talk about execution. So I want to very briefly talk about the Freedom Builder components, because now that you've got your Dream Team Builder, what do you do with them? How do you execute so that you have greater freedom as a business owner and within your business? So the first thing we want to talk about is organizing your team. Then not just meeting for meeting, goals and KPIs, ownership thinking, and key process documentation. I just want to move through these really quickly so that you guys have an idea of what these are all about. Organizing your team. Employees want to know how they fit into the larger organization. Now, in a small organization, that's pretty straightforward, right? You probably have an idea, but maybe you don't. And so as a small business owner, as an employee of a small business, and any business for that matter, you want to know how you fit in, okay? And then clarity of position also improves the efficiency and reduces confusion. So you want to be really clear on what the positions are that are in the business. Now, again, you guys are probably saying, come on, we're small. It's not that hard. Okay. And then it's being as an organized team, there's a basis for team members to hold each other accountable. So again, a well-organized team creates greater accountability. Okay. Individual responsibilities are very clearly defined. Now, the best way to accomplish this, the best way to accomplish it is an old-fashioned org chart. Now, the org chart does several things. The org chart is about positions. So you may only have 5 people on your team, but your org charts probably, and in fact should, have about 20 boxes on it because there's 20 key functions that you have to do. Now, when you first start your company, guess what? You are having your name in every single box. But that's the beauty of an org chart. As you bring in people, you start plugging them into boxes or several boxes. But everything's organized because you know what the functions are that are essential to your business to operate. And then you start, as a business owner, plugging people into those boxes. And what's wonderful as a business owner is you start working yourself out of those boxes. Yeah, you're sitting in the orange box at the top, but you want to work yourself out of those boxes so that eventually, when you are at freedom to exit, you are sitting in that top box only, or if there's any boxes below that top box line, it's the stuff you really love doing. You bring lots of value to the company when you do it. You don't mind doing it. In fact, you love doing it. So that's okay, but you're choosing what those things are. An org chart is an essential element of what I do with small business owners to make sure they're really clear on what's going on, but also the employee, everybody that's on the team, they know how they fit in and how they might move themselves to a higher level. Now, not just meeting to meet. There's 2 kinds of meetings that you need in order to truly have a freedom-focused business: a leadership team meeting and a regular company meeting. Now, the leadership team meeting is something that you're going to be doing religiously once a week. And some people are like, man, I can't do that. The truth is that a leadership meeting that's done really well with the key employees that are part of your leadership team that help you to drive the business, and if you're really small, it might be everybody. But if you're a larger company, 10, 20, 30 people, then it's going to definitely be just a small group of people, the owner plus your key employees. By the way, done right, you don't need a lot of other meetings. That's what I teach. That's what's critical. So ideally, it's a short meeting. 60 minutes is ideal. Typically, 90 is going to be probably pretty popular. But these are timed meetings. You're going to get done what needs to get done, in and out. You're not going to be wasting time. Critical for problem solving and coordination. You've got to meet with a very set agenda, same agenda every week, that allows you to make sure that you are getting the most from the time that you're together as a leadership team. Everybody walks away with their responsibilities. They know what everybody else is doing, and only the most important things are being worked on. Next week, we'll work on the next thing. This week, we've got to focus on this thing. It's very well organized. The agenda is essential. The other critical meeting is your company meeting, okay? Now, for a while there, leading up to 2014, we did maybe 1 or 2 company meetings on an as-needed basis, but we didn't do them regularly. You need to be doing your company meetings once a month. It's essential, okay? And don't skip them. This basically allows you to create team. It creates team. It builds an understanding and appreciation across the different areas within the business. In my business, we had field inspectors that were out in the field. We had an office of people that were doing plan analysis, and of course the other office functions. Well, the guys in the field, they never ever came in. So the one time that they got to connect and understand that they were part of a bigger organization was that monthly meeting. And if you're in the same situation, bringing people together builds that team. And again, that disconnected was that operations bullet point. And then this is also your opportunity to reinforce core values. There's an agenda item on every meeting that says, let's go over a core value, one each month. You rotate through them, and we're going to read the core value, the action statement, and the narrative. Then we're going to go around the room and say, does anybody have some comments about how they've seen this exhibited within our organization? And people will say, oh, Bob did this and Jane did that. As part of this, we're also going to let people say, but they also did this core value. So it's really a feel-good opportunity to reinforce the importance of core values, but also the examples of when people are really doing an excellent job on it. Core values do not sit on the shelf. They are pervasive in what you do, how you act, and what you do as an organization. If you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Good team meetings, good leadership meetings are essential to how you do that. You can't go it alone as a business owner. Goal setting and KPIs. So a very clear defined process, which I share, of 3-year, 1-year, and quarterly goals is essential. Okay. What you do when you have this level of goal setting, it's all based on your vision. So the vision is where you want to go. The goals are how you're going to get to that vision and fulfill it. Now, your vision might be 10 years out. Well, what do we need to do in the next 3 years to get there? All right. And then what do we need to do in the next 1 year to accomplish those 3-year goals? And then you can do the quarterly to go to the 1. Now, the beauty of and the power of goal setting in this manner is that when you're working in the here and now on the quarterly goals, you don't worry about the 1-year goals. You definitely don't worry about the 3-year goals because those are already established. And once a quarter, you're saying, what do I got to do this quarter to get that 1-year goal? I don't worry about the 1-year goal. I worry about what I need to do for the next 90 days. At the end of a quarter, we're going to look at the annual and say, are we on track to get there? Make an adjustment, set your new quarterly goals. Forget about the 1-year goals again for 90 days. Don't stress about it. Don't worry about it. And then you do execute for the next 90 days. Over and over again. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Tortoise in the hare. It's not a sprint, okay? It's a slow, gradual process. If you follow this process, you are guaranteed to accomplish what you want to accomplish. I'm just telling you. Now, you got to have all the other components involved, but with this methodology, you're going to have great success. And you're going to report back every quarter to the team. And your leadership team helps you develop this, but you're saying, hey, we accomplished these goals. Everybody gets excited because it's head down working hard. But then when you see these goals being accomplished on a quarterly basis, then at the end of the year, and then you can see that we're heading towards that 3-year goal, we're going to accomplish that. Everybody gets excited. They're motivated. They see how the work they do each day is actually getting us to that end place, that vision through our goals. Now, KPIs are also an important piece of measuring the success of your goals along the way. Now, most financial measures, including our income statement, cash flow statement, and balance sheet, those are usually looking backwards. How did we do? But KPIs, on the other hand, are really leading indicators instead of lagging. When you're following and tracking data on a weekly basis, which is what we did, every week you've identified the key things that are most important to moving the needle, okay? What do we need to do to make sure that we're moving the company forward, accomplishing our goals? Those key elements that we need to be measuring. And you're measuring them once a week. You've got data points. After a little while, you start to see trends. And if the trends are going down when they should be going up, you got to change. KPIs allow you to do that so that you can now predict what's going to happen in the future and you can start making adjustments. Key performance indicators are absolutely essential if you want to be able to track what you're doing and be able to make adjustments and ultimately get to your goals. So goals and KPIs work hand in hand. Ownership thinking, another key element that I introduced that I learned from my CPA, by the way, a long time ago. Basically, with ownership thinking, you're creating a culture of accountability, purpose, and greater profitability. It's a culture of that, okay? You're going to move from me thinking, meaning your team, to we thinking. Now, that sounds a little bit fun in the way I've said that, but that's what's critical. You've got to get people thinking more about how are we operating as a team, okay? Owners think that, okay? But we need everybody else to be thinking that. Work collectively to improve the bottom line. And then ultimately share in the rewards of that. So if we all work together in order to improve our bottom line, meaning I'm not going to waste time because I recognize that wasting time doesn't help us, okay? Or I'm not going to take the extra widgets that I need or the extra piece of equipment or the extra bottle of oil or whatever it is because that's wasting what we need to have, which is precious resources. So if everybody understands how what they do impacts the bottom line, they're going to be more conscientious about that. Okay, so what we do as part of ownership thinking is we do financial acumen training. We teach people to think like an owner and not like an employee, okay? Or less like an employee and more like an owner. we talk about the difference between personal finance and business finance. Now, we do this in a very user-friendly way because a lot of people are like their eyes glaze over, they're not money people, but we do it in a very educational way that's interesting and informative, and it has a positive impact on each person. So we're going to help them to understand, believe it or not, income statements, balance sheets, cash flow. There's some business owners, unfortunately, that don't understand some of these pieces. So maybe what you need to do is have your CPA come in and share with this information with people, okay? But ownership thinking is critical, and understanding how business finance work is essential. Now, the most effective way to grow profits before taxes is one of the things that we teach in ownership thinking, okay? How do we increase our profitability before taxes? That's essential. And there's two distinct ways to make that happen. One's more powerful than the other. That's what we teach in the financial acumen training. We also, as a team, collectively identify inefficiencies and also missed opportunities that we can take advantage of. This is one of those things that I did so that my leadership team and my entire team was comfortable with me not being there anymore, because they were thinking like owners. That's why they said, Darren, we don't need you anymore. We're going to buy you out. And that was a key, is making sure that people think about ownership thinking. This is not only if you want to sell the company. Believe me, this is essential for a freedom-focused company if you want truly for your freedom to be maximized. Ownership thinking is a key ingredient. The last thing is key process documentation. Automated businesses document everything, right? Best example, of course, out there, one of the best is McDonald's. 38,000 locations in over 100 countries, and the Big Mac is the same everywhere. The fries and the chicken McNuggets are the same everywhere. Why? Because they've got documented processes and exactly how you cook and how you make that food. The experience at a McDonald's is very well regimented. It's all documented. You need an automated business. Your business, if it's not automated, will always rely on you. So you've got to document your processes and procedures, all right? So increases efficiency, consistency, and quality. That's what documented processes do for you. You become less reliant on the skill set of the people you're hiring. If I've got a really well-documented process and I know I've got somebody that's got some skills, maybe not the exact skills I need, but I've got a great process that's documented, I can focus on getting the right people that are aligned, that are going to be energized, to make the company better. They're going to take less management because they're enthusiastic about being a part of your organization. That's who you need to find through the Dream Team Builder process. But we want to focus on automating our business through processes. Reduces vulnerability and the loss of key employees. Again, if you've got documented processes and somebody walks out the door, that process didn't go with them because you've got it documented. Can't tell you how many times this happened to me. Plan review person leaves. I had to invest a month of my time to bring the next person up to speed after I had spent several weeks hiring that person. Sucks up my time big time. So a big key is making sure that you have documented processes. And you bet, we absolutely did that at DR WashCheck because I wanted to reduce vulnerability in a big way. It also improves, of course, your onboarding process because here's what you got to do. I'll fine-tune that with you. You can ask questions, but here's your onboarding. But it also helps with cross-training. So if you want somebody to actually know how to do a task so that person can take some time off, well, document what they need to do so somebody can easily slide in. And in their absence, they've got something to refer to because that other person's on a beach somewhere and you're not going to call them because you respect their time away just like you want them as an owner to respect your time away. Okay, so these are the things that I did when I built my company and spent 24 months getting it ready effectively to be much more free. I wasn't looking to sell it when I sold it, but I had Dream Team Builder and I had Freedom Builder and all of those elements present in order to build my company as a freedom-focused business. Now, what do you want to do in terms of your freedom level? I would assume that it's to get to that highest level of freedom, freedom to exit, okay? This is what we want to do. We want to get you to that level. We want you to have the freedom to take as much time away as you want at the beach, maybe traveling the mountains, spending time with family or friends, whatever that is. You deserve that. We all deserve that. But as a business owner, you have control over that. You have control over actually that coming to pass. And I'm telling you, the stuff that I've done to get myself there absolutely works. It works for the small business owners that I've already helped. And I want it to work for you because I want small business owners to have greater freedom. That's my vision. Every small business owner operating a freedom-focused business where their personal and professional freedom are maximized. That's my vision for the future. And I want to make sure that that happens for you as well as everybody else. Okay, let's talk about who Dream Team Builder is for, because this is something that every organization can benefit from, but it's specifically tailored for small business owners, okay? Now, if you're a small business owner and you've been in business for two or more years, this is really going to be most helpful to you. If you've got 5 to 20 employees, this is designed for you, okay? And if you don't have a separate human resources department, meaning you, the owner, are the HR department, or maybe you've got somebody that does that for you, but they're not a professional at HR, human resources. So if you don't have an HR department, Dream Team Builder is made for you because we don't need you to have one. We've got a process that you can implement as the owner or maybe somebody helping you. This is what we want you to do. So the ideal is going to be somebody that doesn't have an HR department. You don't have, or you're just not interested in spending lots of money, thousands of dollars on a one-on-one coach, because you could do that. You could have a one-on-one coach. We're not going to do one-on-one coaching. That's not what we're about. We want to give you the tools in order to have a freedom-focused business, but we also need to make this cost-effective for you. And another thing, this is built for those that are comfortable working independently with your team to implement the well-defined strategies for improvement that I have created. And enjoy collaborating with other small business owners. That's another part of what we do as when we're working with small business owners is collaboration. I don't have all the answers. Others have also excellent answers. We want to make sure that we share those amongst the small business owners. Okay. So you've got a choice as we sit here today. I've shared with you all the things that I'm doing and information about that, but you've got a choice. You can basically find greater freedom without doing anything that I've shared with you, okay? Maybe you can even try and implement the things that I've talked about. But there's a good chance that you're going to be right where you are today, the same place a year from now, okay? So that's an option, though. You can choose that. You could get help from a one-on-one coach, because there's lots of them out there that will help you. Not with my same formula. Most coaches have their own formula. But the trick is with coaches is, one, they've got a formula that they have to help you implement. And if you're not there, they're not there helping you, then you really can't implement it. I've worked to make sure that that is not the case, because option 3 is that you effectively have a proven program that you can implement on your own, okay? That is way less expensive than a one-on-one coach. I can only fulfill my vision of every small business owner running a freedom-focused business if I deliver something that is user-friendly, that you can do on your own time, your own schedule, with some help. I provide some help. It's not all on your own, but also at a cost that anybody can afford. That's critically important. It's not about making money. It's about making sure that we get freedom for small business owners. And I mean that sincerely. Truly, I mean that. So, if this is of interest to you, doing something that is in that category 3, that is, then Dream Team Builder is something that I invite you to participate in, okay? With Dream Team Builder, there are 5 different classes covering those 5 elements that we've already talked about. Core values discovery, clarifying vision, getting to know you, a simple but effective hiring process, and reviews that you and your team will look forward to. So, in Dream Team Builder, this is what's going to happen. You're going to be able to achieve the following. You're going to have a vision, crystal clear. You're going to be able to establish what your core values are. You're going to learn how to use data as a valuable tool in your hiring process and also for your team itself, not just the people you're bringing in, but your current team. You're going to establish a powerful hiring process that allows you to build that dream team that you want. Learn a simple but effective employee review process so you're not leaving out that one thing that most business owners don't do a very good job at, that will allow you to truly strengthen your team. And at the end of the day, with Dream Team Builder, it's a very solid foundation for you to have much greater personal and professional freedom. So, what's included in the Dream Team Builder program? Virtual on-demand classes. They're available for you 24/7. Okay? You can either buy individual classes. Some of you may just want to have your core values figured out. Great. Just do that class. Some of you may just want to know what this hiring process is. Great, take that class, okay? Most of you are going to want all 5 of the classes, okay? And so you have, if it's a single class, you have 60 days to get through the material. If it's a bundle, you have 6 months or 180 days to get through that, so that you have access to this material to get through it 24/7 whenever it's convenient for you. In each of the classes, I provide examples and templates and handouts, okay? Presentation slides, you get all of those slides. And then regular Q&A with me. So I want to make sure that if you've got questions and you get stuck, that's something that I can help you with. And I will do that on a regular basis so that you get the help that you want. If you're interested in purchasing the classes that are part of the Dream Team Builder program, either individual or the bundle, you can go to my website at darrenwashek.com/sources, or at my website, darrenwashek.com. If you just go to the top where classes are, and you can go down to either classes or bundles, and that's where you're going to find the link in order to purchase the bundle of classes. Again, the pricing is on my website. So go to the website, and that's where you're going to learn exactly what the pricing is for each of these classes. But it is a very, very affordable price, lower price compared to anything that you'll see with other coaching. But again, that is intentional. That is intentional because I want lots of small business owners to actually purchase and go through this material so you can have greater freedom. Now, what about Freedom Builder, you might be asking? So Freedom Builder includes all the items that I shared with you, but this is not ready yet. I wanted to get Dream Team Builder out there as soon as possible. You can go on right now and start participating in that, taking that class, the bundle of 5 classes. Freedom Builder is going to be out next year in 2024, so look for this. I'm going to be rolling that out on a gradual basis over the course of time next year, but you got to spend time in Dream Team Builder to build that foundation, so by the time you're ready for Freedom Builder, it will be there for you and available to you. Let me remind you, you can't go it alone if you truly want freedom. You've got to have help. Build your dream team. And you've got to be doing the work that you love and not the work that you don't love, the work that you don't like. So you've got to make sure that's delegated. Again, the only way to delegate it is to have a strong group of people helping you. And you've got to be able to spend time away from your business, doing the things that I talk about in Dream Team Builder. Eventually, adding on those things that I do in Freedom Builder is going to be able to get you to that place of a freedom-focused business where you can maximize your freedom and you can take as much time as you want away from your business. And that's where Freedom Focus comes in. I want you to be able to take time whenever you want to. I want, on the professional side, for you to be able to take a month, 6 months, 1 year off. Do those freedom activities. Take time away from your business. That's what my hope is for you. So that's it for this Dream Team Builder Masterclass. Thank you very much for investing your time in watching this class. I hope you learned many things that you can take away and start doing for your business. If I can be of help with you in Dream Team Builder and with Freedom Builder, please let me do that. I really look forward to being able to be a part of you getting to greater freedom so I can fulfill my vision of every small business owner having a freedom-focused business where their personal and professional freedom are maximized. Until then, stay focused on your freedom.